life happened and you have multiple late payments on your credit report, let me walk you through the process to knock them things off. So sit back, relax, grab a pen, get some paper, get something to drink, because we about to get straight into it. Now it's time to show you how to remove these late payments from your credit report. And you know me, I'm going to talk about the process and what it looks like to remove these late payments. So if you have one late payment, what should you do on one specific account? Like, what is the process, what it looks like? If you have two or more late payments, what should you do to remove them, two or more late payments on that specific account? And let's just say during COVID-19, back in 2020, as you know, times was crazy back then. However, if you had talked to a creditor and you negotiated to where, hey, if you was going to be late, and they said that, hey, if you was late, that they wasn't going to mark you late, and they marked you late, there's a process what you can do to get that corrected. All right, and I'm gonna break down the whole process. You know me, so I just want to let you know that I'm not a lawyer. However, I am working on that specific degree to actually become a lawyer. However, I want you guys to read the law so you can understand it for yourself. But I'm gonna break it down the best way I can based off of my understanding. Let me know based off of your understanding. All right. So 15 USC 1681 S-2F. All right. Reported information during COVID-19 pandemic. Accommodation. All right. And the term accommodation includes an agreement to defer one or more payments, make a partial payment, forbear any delinquent amounts, modify a loan or contract, or any other assistance or relief granted to a consumer who was affected by the corona disease COVID-19 pandemic during the covered period. All right. The term covered period means the period beginning on January 31st, 2020, and ending on later of 120 days after March 27, 2020, or 120 days after the date which the national emergency concerning the novel corona disease COVID-19 outbreak declared by the president on March 13, 2020 under the National Emergency Act terminate that specific law. 15 USD 1681 S-2 to reporting, except as provided in clause 3, if a furnisher makes any accommodation with respect to one or more payments on a credit obligation or account of a consumer, and the consumer makes the payment or is not required to make one or more payments pursuant to the accommodation, the furnisher shall, keyword, all right, I know this is a lot, report the credit obligation or account as current, or if the credit obligation or account was delinquent before the accommodation, maintain the delinquent status during the period in which the accommodation is in effect, and if the consumer brings the credit obligation or account current during the period described in the item AA, report the credit obligation or account as current. All right. So what does that all mean? It was a lot of information. All right. So based off of how I read it, to me, it basically meant is if you worked out something with a creditor and they marked you late, you were supposed to be marked as current. However, if you was delinquent during that time, they're going to continue marking you delinquent. However, if you caught everything back up, they will fix that status. So that's what the law was broken down to me. That's how I understand it. However, how can we create a law to actually remove these late payments from your credit report based off of that specific law? So let's just go to it and let me show you what I'm talking about. So 15 USC 1681 S-2. Here's how you should create your letter. So put your name right here, address, right? And then today's date, credit bureau name, who you're addressing this to whom it concerns. I just recently looked at my report and noticed some accounts have late payments during COVID-19. However, I talked to the creditor below and I should not have any missed payments, all right? So this is based off of like you shouldn't have any missed payments. So here's an example, right? So you put the account name, and the person you're talking to, the creditor's name, put the account number, and it's okay to have 1234XX because when you look at a report, it's not going to have all the numbers, especially if you have identity IQ. But if you have, if you go to your credit report, it should have the full account number. Or if you get a report from the credit bureau, of course, they're going to have the full account number. So it's okay of what you have. Reinvestigate and update payment. This is an example on April 1st, 2020. To on time. Delete the 30-day late payment from my credit report due to violation of 15 USC 1681 S-F. All right. And you're just going to do the same thing for all those specific accounts. Thank you. First thing, add 2 forms of identification, send it to the credit bureaus, certify, and wait your time, right? 35 days. Because you already know, according to 15 USC 1681I, they have 30 days to do an investigation and 5 days to send you that investigation. So it's going to take about 35 days for them to notify you of the results. And it should get updated. However, we already know the credit bureaus like to play crazy. So what should we do? We should file a complaint, and let me walk you through that process of what that looks like. It should be on the screen that looks similar to this. All right. So if you're new to the channel, all you got to do is go to CFPB, actually create an account. Once you have an account, you should be on a screen that looks like this. All right. So what we're going to do is click on credit reporting. All right. And then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on credit reporting again. Now what we want to do is click on problem with company's investigation until the existing problem. Their investigation did not fix an error on your report. Have you already tried to fix this problem? Yes. Did you request information from the company? No. And then just click on next. Now basically next is you're going to write your complaint of what happened. Be very detailed as possible of everything that transpired. All right. So I keyword, right? Just recently looked at my report on whatever day that is. All right. December 1st, 2023. I saw some late payments that were supposed to be on time. Me and the creditor talked about I want to be marked late because I had things going on because of the pandemic. I sent the letter to a TransUnion. Remember, we're talking to one specific creditor. So whoever you're talking to, put that person, all right? Talk to TransUnion to get this fixed, but they still said everything is reported correctly, but it's not. Can you help me with this situation? Thank you, all right? And then what's the fair resolution? Update late payments. I would say delete the account, but update late payments. Right, and then what we want to do now is just, if you do have the letters that you sent out before, hopefully you do have a copy, put that. And also, I forgot to mention, if you do have the tracking number there, when you sent that letter to the credit bureaus that specific time, you can put that as well, all right? Now, what we want to do is just click on next. Now, it should be right here, and all you have to do is just look for TransUnion one. Social Security, name as a period, date of birth, and next, name as appears on your credit report. Put that. Do you want to complain with another company? No. And then if this is also reported on Experian and Equifax, create the same complaint and send it to them as well. So now let's talk about if you have one account, right? If you have an account and you have one late payment on that account, like what should you do? All right, we're going to talk about what that process looks like to get that off. So one late payment, of course, we're just going to leverage the laws and create a letter, and I'm just walking through the process. But as I'm going to talk about this later on, how to sue them if you want to just skip that process and actually sue the credit bureaus. All right, so the process: one late payment, 15 U.S.C. 1681 EB, create a letter, 15 U.S.C. 1681 I said CFPB or sue, as we talked about before. So what does that look like? So next. 15 U.S.C. 1681 EB. Go read the law. Whenever a consumer report agency prepares a consumer report, it shall follow reasonable procedure to ensure maximum possible accuracy of the information concerning the individual about whom the report relates. And we already know they don't assure maximum possible accuracy. All right. So what do you want to do now? You want to actually create a letter, and we're going to show you how to create this letter based off of the law. All right. So 15 U.S.C. 1681. EB, and we're not just using that, but everything is based off of that specific law. My bad. So it is based off of that law. Thinking about different law. So you want to put your name, your address, the date, credit bureau's name, credit bureau's address, city, state, to whom it concerns. All right. I just recently looked at my report and noticed that some accounts have late payment or have a late payment. Reinvestigate this concern. All right. Just short, simple. All right. This is just an example. You'll put the account that you're talking about, the account number that you're talking about, and that specific time you was late. All right. So I was not late on, this is an example, April 1st, 2022. Delete this late payment due to inaccurate reporting. All right. And you just want to do that for all those one specific late payments. All right. And I'm basically going to explain why a little later, but just do it like this and then send it. You can also get it notarized. It's up to you, but because the credit bureaus like to play crazy, like to say you sound like a credit repair company. So that's the reason why I say get it notarized. But add two forms of identification and send that certified to the credit bureaus. All right. Now, what do you do next? All right. So let's talk about that process. As you know, the credit bureaus like to play crazy. So what you want to do is just leverage the law. So 15 U.S.C. 1681 right here, I-7, description of reinvestigation procedure. A consumer report agency shall provide to a consumer a description referred to paragraph 6B3 but by no later than 15 days after receiving a request from the consumer for that description. So if the credit bureau said, hey, when you sent that letter to TransUnion, they said, yeah, you sound like everything is complete, everything is accurate. How? And then because what they have to provide is technically like, how did they know that you was actually late? And the only way to the only way to figure it out that you were late is by your account statement, right? Your account statement showing that you paid late. So if they don't have that evidence, how can they assume that you was late? Hey, that's how I feel. So now you create that letter, you send it back to you send it to the credit bureaus, asking them to provide you a description of how everything was accurate. They're supposed to provide it to you within 15 days. As you know, they're not going to do it. So what you need to do is file a complaint. Let me walk through that process. So here's what you're going to do next. All right, this is going to be key. So basically, you're going to be on the screen that looks similar to this. All right, because you already know how to get to it. But problem with companies' investigation until it exists a problem again. And what we want to do is their investigations did not fix an error on your report. Yes, you try to fix this problem. And then next, what you want to do is, did you request information? No, and then click on next. All right. Now, what we want to do is write a specific complaint based off of what happened. All right. So based off of what happened, only you know what happened, and you want to write down every detail, everything that you did, every letter that you sent, every tracking number, and just make it make sense. All right. So basically, what you want to say is, I just looked at my report and I saw that I have a late payment. All right. You can put on the specific date that it was late. However, they are reporting this late payment inaccurate. I sent the letter trying to fix this problem, but I haven't seen any updates. All right. I also sent the letter to them to provide me a description of how they verify how this late payment is accurate, but they did not. This is a violation of my federal rights. Can you help me with this matter? Thank you. And you can also put, like, I sent the letter on this specific day. Here's my tracking number, all that. All right. This is just an example. So now what you want to do is update late payment to on time, right? And just list out the late payments with a specific account. You can also attach the letter that you sent as well, and then just click on next and just go through the process again. And all you want to do is just look for TransUnion. But when you go to the next page, all you're doing is just verifying your information. Okay. So when you go to the next page after you submit this and input your information, the next page is to verify everything is who you are, and then you just gotta wait. All right. And typically the credit bureau is going to say, I need more time. However, usually they will be done within 30 days. Social security name as appears, date of birth, and just fill out all that information. Do you want to complain with another company? No. However, we do want to create another complaint once this one is finished. And whoever you're talking to, which is the other two credit bureaus, which is Equifax and Experian, that's who you want to create a complaint with. We just want to keep it separate because I don't want it to be like they mix it up and then put stuff that don't need to be on one credit bureau. You get what I'm saying. So how to remove, let's just say you have an account, you have multiple late payments on that one account, all right? How do you remove that from your credit report? So there's a process. Now, instead of focusing on removing those, like trying to remove one late payment is hard, but trying to get two of them off or more off of one account is going to take. So what I would suggest is focus on removing the whole entire account from your credit report, all right? Because based off of what we're going to do is dispute it based off of completeness and accuracy, all right? That's how we're going to get that account removed from your credit report. So how do you do that? It's just the same process I always, talk about, all right? Get your report, clean up personal information, opt out, seek a letter, rebuild, leverage the law, CFPB, or sue, right? It's just the same process, all right? So how do you go about that? First thing you want to do is get your report. If you don't have your report, get your report. You should already have it. You're just going to be leveraged in the incomplete information off of that specific account to get that account deleted from your credit report. And then from there, as you know, you want to, of course, clean up your personal information and do the things that are required. But after you do that, here's what you want to do now. You actually want to go ahead and create your letter, right? So your letter is going to be based off of right here. I just recently looked at my report. I just want to make sure everything is 100% correct and accurate. Can you reinvestigate the accounts listed below? as you know, I'm not saying that you don't owe the money. I'm not saying that, hey, this and that. What I'm saying is your account's supposed to be complete and accurate. And if it's not, it's supposed to be. But they needed to fix it, update, and modify it. And typically, they don't do none of that, right? So that's how we're going to get this account removed. Or, like I said, we'll talk about it later, about soon. But put the account name, account number, and then asking them, reinvestigate the completeness of every piece of information. If it's not accurate, please remove from my report. And typically, like what happens after that is they don't they will do it. Sometimes they will delete the account. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll delete it from one credit bureau. Sometimes they won't delete it from another credit bureau. Or sometimes they just say, hey, everything is complete and accurate. All right. Like, what should you do next? So based off of 15 USC 1681 I-7 is what we're going to ask them to provide a description of what they did. And typically they don't provide that description in 15 days. That's a violation. And we can just use some of these laws and just file a complaint. Let me just walk you through the process of what that looks like, all right? Same process. What you want to do is just, you should already know how to go through the CFPB, but you want to be on the screen once you get here, when you go through credit reporting again, problem with the company's investigation into an existing problem. All right, the investigation did not fix an error on your report. Have you already tried to fix this problem? Yes. Did the company request? No. And then click on next, right? And then once you're here, what we want to do is, like I said, write up the complaint of what we need to do, all right? Let me just basically break down this complaint. I'm not going to read the whole exact thing because it's a little bit longer, but based off of these specific laws, we said, let that my report. I know some things was incomplete and accurate. The letter to talking about TransUnion, right? 2nd, 2023, and asked them to investigate the completeness and accuracy. I received the results. They didn't fix nothing. They're breaking the federal law. According to this, they're supposed to, and then I told them to do this. They didn't do it. They're supposed to update, modify. They didn't do that as well. And they don't care about nothing what's going on, all right? So what do you want to happen? Delete the account. You can put the account name and account number that you want to delete it, and you can just also put the actual letter that you sent to the credit bureaus, and then click on next. And who we're talking to, right? We're talking to TransUnion, so you just want to do the same exact thing. Look for TransUnion, right? And then Social Security, name as appears on your credit report, date of birth, and all that information. All right, you just want to fill everything out, and then of course, no, but as I said before, the next page is just verifying everything and then waiting for the credit bureaus. Typically say they need additional time. It'll say 60 days, but it's okay. Usually they respond back within 30 days, 30 to 35 days. Hold up. I know that was a lot of information, and some of y'all probably don't want to do none of that. However, that's the reason why I've been working really, really hard to partner up with the lawyer to sue these debt collectors and sue these credit bureaus, right? So if you want in, let me know you want in. However, if you don't, I understand. That's the reason why I have the free single letter and these videos to help you, educate you to knock the credit bureaus out, all right?